Hey Rob, what's up?
Hey, dude, you got a second?
What's going on? What's
It's just,
up?
yeah, I'm feeling I had to call you. I'm not feeling good since the breakup. It's kind of
Shit,
yeah, it's getting to me,
it's
man.
bad.
Yeah, I it's just
Yeah, these things take time, man.
I,
It's tough getting over.
I know. I just didn't think it was going to be this tough. Like I knew it was going to be tough but I thought like it'd be nice like I get out there, maybe I'd meet new people and try new things and
And now you miss it. You miss
yeah.
it.
Yeah, dude, like seriously, I didn't think
You're really missing that place.
yeah. I mean, the first couple days were great. Trying bagel places, going to shawarma places I haven't been to in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
And I'm like, there are plenty of sandwiches out there. I was like, this is gonna work out. This is gonna be okay.
Look, you're doing a good thing, Rob. You're getting back out there.
But
This
that's the
is a
thing.
positive step.
I know it sounds positive, but that's exactly the thing. I feel like I'm out there and I'm trying these new sandwiches, but honest, it's not the same. It's like it's
Yeah,
mixing that.
Rob, listen. The other place, you had a long history there. You had history with this place. You were comfortable there. I promise you. I'm telling you, there are other bodegas with delicious sandwiches. You just got to find it.
So it's not like I didn't just blow it with my one and only.
No, wait, what are you crazy? Just wait till you make those, little tweaks at the new place you're eating at, or become friends with the employees. I know you love becoming friends with the employees and the waitresses and the counter people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I meet new people, and
what?
some of these new places they don't even have
Yeah,
minimums. Like they're not being a bunch of
exactly.
fucking yeah. All
There
right,
you go.
you
You're
know
good
what?
now.
I needed this. Thanks, buddy.
Oh, of course.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get myself some lunch right now. This was good. I appreciate this. Thank
Get
you.
back out there.
I'm gonna do
Get
it.
back out.
I'm getting back out there.
Run your mouth, bitch. Yo, we out of our minds. Run your mouth.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Run Your Mouth podcast. I apologize for last week's blunder, and I admire the faith in you guys have in this show, that despite us putting out an episode that included us talking about content that was going to get cut in and then didn't get cut in and crosstalk and just talking about phones that weren't working, you guys were all just like, well, that's them doing their thing. And that was cool, you guys. Not one person people emailed us to go, hey, I like this joke. They hit us up about, things in the episode they liked, and nobody thought to say, hey, you seem to have missed some edits. So I appreciate you guys, and apparently I didn't give you enough credit for how weird you will let us get with this, and so I just want to say thank you. I apologize for the blunder, and kind of worked out in your favor. I had a masterpiece plan in my head. I was going to be splitting that into 2 episodes. That whole thing was going to get jigsawed, move around. You guys really don't want to hear about this, but I'm just telling you, in my head, I had a masterpiece planned. And in the end, I guess that one became its own episode, which is back up, digitally remastered, made some of the fine tunes, put some of the things in that were supposed to be there, and going to leave it as is. And now you got an entirely fresh new episode, unedited, raw, unfiltered, exactly the way you like it. Nothing cut in, just recorded all in one sitting with everybody here and present. So I hope you guys appreciate it, because that's what you guys like.
Is this where I'm supposed to cut in? Hi everybody. I'm the new audio editor around here. Just here to make sure that there's no weird issues like last week that happened. Just clean everything up, make sure it's nice and smooth. I also bringing some new ideas to the table. Like I thought maybe we could play some cool tunes in the background while the podcast was going on. Like this week, we'll listen to Bach because, his name's Bernstein and, bees and stuff. So, all right, that's it for me. Thanks for all that. Let's get back to the show. Back.
Now, I was talking, out of my ass, which is basically where I get all my information. And we were talking a little bit about abortion on the Part of the Problem podcast. And I was saying, rather than legislation, this, that, or the other thing, I bet that there's some technological developments that we could implement that would let women know early on, hey, you're pregnant, you got to get rid of this thing. I bet, there's probably some version of a watch that people are going to be able to wear at some point in time that Just measure, hey, your cunt levels are a little higher than normal. It'll be that simple. Believe me, they're going to figure that shit out. And I was talking about that I believe that there's a thing you could just plug into your phones that can monitor stuff. Anyways, you guys out there, you're more intelligent than I am. You emailed me about a couple products that actually existed, which is making me think, if someone looked far enough up my ass, they might find the answers to the world's problems. I'm telling you, there's good insights up there. We just needed to get someone who's going to, root around a little bit more. First story I want to talk about is Robert Kraft seems to be just getting off the hook. Totally off the hook. They're not going to let out the tape, which is a little bit disappointing. I don't think he's going to get prosecuted in any way. And this is one of those just great examples of, how free this country really is. If any of us had gotten busted, we would have just we would have seen the full force of the law, the penalties, the prosecutors, and it just would have worked out in their favor. But all of a sudden, you get someone who can actually afford to push back and go, even though he's busted, red-handed or whatever the better pun might be, he's going to get off. You know why? Because he can actually afford to push back. He can afford to have good lawyers. And that's, to me, a tragedy of what the justice system is. That's not pursuing justice, that if you have enough money that you can push back, then those are the people that get off against, essentially, you call it a tyrannical government. They're just, if they can prosecute you, they will. They're not really looking for truth or for justice. It's just, if they can prosecute you, they will. And if they can't, because you actually have enough money to push back, they won't. Reminds me of a Charles Murray book. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the one that was the least racist. But he had this really interesting theory. He called it the Madison. I think it was the Madison Fund, I think it was called the Madison Fund, which was basically a fund that would work like almost like insurance policies, like the way life insurance works. That if you got sued, or the EPA or any branch of the government was coming after your business, you'd be able to. The fund would cover your legal costs to countersue the government. And by his math, if everybody could afford to basically go to court against the government actually wouldn't be able to afford to prosecute us over petty shit. They would leave businesses alone, and we could actually be a prosperous and free country. And I think the Robert Kraft incident is essentially proof of what that theory was, that if we had enough money that we could actually afford to show up in court and fight back against the government, there's going to be a lot of instances where they can't just bully us, and they turn out to be wrong. So I want to get into some of the particulars of the Robert Kraft case and why exactly he got off, and here's one of the quotes. So the prosecutors who had evidence of Robert Kraft getting blown by an Asian whore, so they were trying to not just, I guess, have this evidence in court. They even wanted to release it to the public. I don't understand why the government needs to record people being, having sex with Asian whores and then release it to the public. Like, that's the thing. They need to get out there. It's not old CIA files or the truth of the NSA or any of this other stuff. It's like, listen, we're going to give you guys the real inside story. No, it's not Bigfoot or the lies of global warming, but we've got the Robert Kraft getting blown tapes. Finally, the government transparency you guys were all looking for. So prosecutors were arguing that Kraft lacked a legitimate claim to an expectation of privacy, and I think that's reasonable. Like, I know when you're at a parlor, everyone wants videos of them banging Asian footage. That's what you go there for. It's like when, as a kid, when you rode those roller coaster rides and they got that picture of you going over the hill with the sloppy hair, making the weird faces. That's what you want. You want to be able to leave the place and go, hey, let's watch the video, and go, oh man, look at my dumb face. So, but that got thrown out. Actually, the judge ruled all massage parlor customers have a reasonable expectation of privacy under the U.S. Constitution, regardless of whether or not they went there for a lawful massage, which is good news, because, like, if they ever barge in on you, and you're getting a little handy in the back by some Asian lady, you could scream like, hey, we're reasonable expectation for privacy, and maybe quote this court law. I don't really know how that works, but I'm pretty sure the judge ruled in the favor of those seeking hand jobs, which sounds like a win. Now, here was another really shit move that these cops were pulling. So I guess within the video footage, they weren't quite able to identify the suspects or the identity of who was getting jerked off at these massage parlors. And they're really going after people. They really want to make sure that nobody's getting a handy in the back of a massage parlor. So what they do is they would follow your car for, a couple stoplights, miles, whatever amount of distance it was before they would pull you over. They'd pull you over with the old, hey, your taillight's out, or hey, you ran a light back there, or whatever it is. They would just pull you over for some nonsense. And then once you're pulled over, they're able to see that identification. Now they can verify your identity. They can cross-reference, hey, this vehicle walked out of the massage parlor, got into his car, drove off. We were able to verify his identity. Now they know who was there, and they can match you up against the footage. So they also ruled that was illegal because they couldn't pose... They had no reason to be conducting these routine traffic stops other than to illegally figure out the identities of these people. But another shit move that they were pulling, that if it wasn't for the fact that Kraft had enough money to push back, they probably would have gotten away with it. So here was another statement about the incident. So they said, this is the prosecutors, the massage parlors were shut down and several women were charged with pocketing hundreds of thousands of dollars from running prostitution houses. And it sounds to me like these prosecutors are taking a stand against women's empowerment. Here you have honest, hardworking women trying to run an honest business, and the state of Florida is taking a stand against it, taking hundreds of thousands of dollars out of the pockets of hardworking women. And here's actually audio of one of the owners who was on NPR earlier this week. So let's give that a listen.
Yeah, I'm trying to rent out women's vaginas. And it's not like the early 90s when there was blow and finance guys and you could fill a vagina in minutes at top rates. This is a hustle. Filling vaginas, need a new customer every 30 minutes. Hotel rooms? That's an easy business. It's one fill for the entire night. You want a tough job? Try filling these vaginas. Short rental. And I got women. They want work.
And then lastly, they said officials said their efforts were aimed in part at targeting suspected human trafficking at the massage parlors. They pointed to state health department inspections suggesting that sex workers from Asia were living at the businesses. But then after conducting further research, they found out that's just how these Asians like to live. So that was kind of not a good showing for these investigators. They had to come out and say that they would be more sensitive about foreign cultures in the future. And, I get it. They're cops. They don't interact with minorities. They didn't know these things. So hopefully this was a learning incident for everybody. All right, next news story that I want to highlight is I thought this was hilarious. It was about the Occulus Building in down by in the Wall Street area in New York City. Now, what's interesting about this Occulus Building is that it looks like, I don't know, it looks like a corpse out of a Godzilla movie or something. It's this big, imposing, ugly building that it couldn't look more out of place. If you go down to the World Trade Center, you want to touch the bull's balls, which, let me tell you, used to be easier access to those bull's balls. I remember a couple years ago wanting to go down there, touch that thing for good luck, and can't say that it brought me a lot of good fortune, but, you make the pilgrimage once, you do that, and it used to be there wasn't a lot of tourists down there. Now that bowl, that thing is crowded. There's people coming from all around the world trying to touch those nuts. It's not easy. You almost got to, start doing lines and giving out tickets, some sort of carnival thing. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyways, if you ever go down there to touch the bull's balls, I don't know why else you would go down to the financial district. Not probably the least fun area in all of New York City, except I've heard that might be a good area for picking up some crazy hot chicks when they get out of their stressful jobs. And I think that's an underrated, underutilized market, but we'll have to explore that another time. So anyways, you ever go down to the Wall Street area, you got this giant building. It's called the Oculus. It's ugly. It's out of place. And not only is it ugly and out of place, it's the least functional building thing you've ever seen. They built basically these giant projectile unbuilt wings that just kind of these it's a big ugly sculpture of metal that just extends into the air for absolutely no reason, which is, I guess if you're going to waste money on public infrastructure, at least give me a nice statue, some columns, one of those great fakey things with a small penis to make us all feel better about ourselves. Something like that. Or a fountain. I like a nice fountain. Fountain seems to, you go to Washington Square Park, that seems out to bring out good vibes in people. But this skeleton thing, it's not like it's getting random drug dealers or players on their flutes or all those other things that you can enjoy in Washington Square Park. So anyways, $3.9 billion they spent on this building, and now I don't even think it's been open that long. You gotta research that one yourself. But I don't think it's been open that long. And now there's a $32 million skylight that's leaking. And they tried duct taping it. One guy was watching that infomercial for the Flex Seal, and he decided he was gonna tape it up, and maybe that would work. And they spent a lot of money on that. It's not working. And I think this is the old, like, if it actually served a purpose, then there would be profit behind it, and you would fix it. It's like if it was a piece of factory equipment, because you invested in factory equipment, and then you weren't able to build your cars, even if it was $32 million to replace, you'd be making profit from it, so you'd go fix it. That's what's odd about these government, infrastructure projects, is bridges maybe, but I guess you build something like this, which is just some big old stupid dumb building for no reason, and you're already over budget, and then all of a sudden you need a repair, and people are like, well, we didn't really even need this stupid skylight. All right. Now, next story I want to highlight is I almost never read the New York Times. Usually I see the headlines and I just know that they're wrong, or you read a couple sentences and you just start getting angry because you know that it's total nonsense. But this is a story I can get behind. The title for the story was "The Case for Doing Nothing." So already, that piqued my interest. I don't even know how I came across this. I don't read the Times, but I saw "The Case for Doing Nothing," and I was like, all right, I'm into it. So it starts, "Stop being so busy and just do nothing. Trust us. There's no way out of the madness, and it's not more mindfulness, exercise, or a healthy diet. What we're talking about is doing nothing, or as the Dutch call it, Nixon." And is there anything better than when you can just put a foreign word on something? Like, it just makes it sound so classy. I wish I knew this as a kid. Can you imagine, like, you're sitting around? My dad used to yell at me, at the house, like, quit dilly-dallying, because I didn't want to do my homework, and I would just walk around. I'm exactly the same person. They probably should have gotten me some meds and helped me out, but instead they screamed at me for dilly-dallying, and you know what I did? I continued to dally. I continued to dilly. Now I'm just a dilly-dallying expert, putting out podcasts on the wrong days with the wrong, stuff in it, but let's not, we're over that. We don't have to dwell on that anymore. So anyways, you got this thing which is called Nixon, so let's all adapt it. Let's be culture. Let's be classy here. If you're ever wasting time, people tell you you're wasting time, you're like, no, I'm practicing what the Dutch call Nixon. Are the Dutch, like, particularly cultured, or are we just stealing a word for something? I don't know. People tell me. I'm asking you. I like those, I don't know much about the Dutch. All right, anyways, more practically, the idea of Nixon is to take conscious, considered time and energy to do activities like gazing out of a window or sitting motionless. So I can get behind this. But then the article took a bit of a turn for, I'm going to say, the interesting. So here it goes. Keeping busy, running from place to place, and laboring over long to-do lists having increasingly become ways to communicate status. I'm so busy because I'm just so important, the thinking goes. And I do that. Dude, not only do I do that, I will literally waste time being busy trying to come up with things to be busy with. That is 100% a thing. Hey, you want to? No, I'm too busy, man. Like, there's something about the competitive nature of life these days and the amount of things that I think I'm supposed to be on top of that I feel guilty if I'm not constantly involved in some sort of a activity towards improvement, which I understand I'm describing being highly neurotic. And believe me, I waste a shit ton of time. I waste so much time. But there's that other part of my brain which just goes, you're not allowed to waste time. You got to be busy. Or if you're not busy, you got to at least pretend like you're busy. Always look busy. And that's because we live in a pretty competitive landscape, or that is become, like, as opposed to maybe since I don't have wealth and I like to pretend like I am living the high growth model where I'm heavily invested in certain tasks. So therefore, if I can portray like I'm insanely busy, it seems like I'm actually working towards goals and that maybe I'm actually an interesting person. The point is, I'm reading this and I'm like, okay, you guys kind of called me on my bullshit. You're kind of right about this. But anyways, I want to further explore what it is culturally. And by the way, I hate these articles when they start describing millennials and I'm like, fuck, that's me. I'm that person. I'm exactly the garbage person that they're describing. So anyways, so why are millennials bent on being workaholics? Even though the economy has improved markedly in recent years, young people in the workforce today have record levels of student loan debt. They are also likely than previous generations to earn more. Less likely than previous generations to earn more than their parents, according to a Stanford University report. The percentage of children who are better off than their parents has dropped dramatically. 50% of those born in the 1980s have a higher standard of living than their parents, compared with 90% of those born in the 1940s. So what they're finding is that millennials are extremely anxious and hardworking, and it's because there isn't as much opportunity for economic prosperity, and we are kind of competitive people. We're all interested in status. We saw what our parents achieved, and since you don't have the same kind of spark of economic growth, we're all kind of like, fuck me, fuck, and we've got that thing going, and there's a little bit of what they're calling burnout. Now I want to point you to another article that I read in the Wall Street Journal that I thought was very interesting. It was called "Boomer Bequest is Millennial Misery" by Chad Crow. So this is just part of the article. It was also in the opinion section. The decades to come, the boomers' fiscal choice threatens to constrain severely our political options. The long-term problem is federal debt, including debt owed to the Social Security Trust Fund. It is now around 105% of gross domestic product. Those are claims that millennials and their descendants will eventually have to pay, largely to fund social transfers to the boomers that they weren't willing to pay themselves. Worse, some 75% of federal spending over the next decade will happen on autopilot without any intervention from elected lawmakers. Most of that is Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, along with interest on the debt. Unless Congress finds the political will to enact a substantial overhaul of these programs, millennials will have hardly any latitude to act on their own fiscal priorities. Weave these strands together, and the tapestry that emerges depicts an enormous heist in which boomers stole a decade from their millennial children. The boomers' combination of naive, panic, and negligence buried millennials in trouble. Digging our way out will be our primary economic and political challenge. So I guess the point is, the people, they fucked us over. So if you're running around in circles feeling miserable or feeling like you got to work your dick off to try and get ahead, you're not the only one. You're part of an entire generation, and that's why the Rob's Newsroom podcast is here to coach you on the best possible sandwiches that you can eat to help cope with your anxiety, move forward with life, live the best version of what you can do. And by the way, we're taking new applicants for our new graduate coursework in, sandwich expertise certification. I think as the world becomes harsher to live in, as we, combat global warming, as people increase their misery, there's going to be more people out there looking for quality sandwiches as an option for dealing with the harshness of life. And, the experts that have graduated from us, I think those are going to be the people that people look to. So make an investment in your financial future. That's what I'm trying to say. Get in early because, this might develop into a bit of a Ponzi scheme. So at the moment, it's not very expensive to enroll. It's very reasonable. If you want the details, you just email us, robsnewsroom@gmail.com. We're here to help you out. Not only are we going to coach you into what some of the most delicious sandwiches are, where you can find the ingredients, you get to personally consume everything that you're eating, so you get to enjoy it. And then later down the road, you're going to be able to actually sell this expertise to other people who are panicking about, situations that are going on in their life. And now with that being said, we're going to check in with our good pal, Yosef Feldstein. So let's see if we can get him on the phone. What's up, Yosef? Glad that we could have you back on. And with your full attention, this is a real honor to have you joining us on the podcast.
It's all of me. You get all of me.
So tell me, what's with these new sexy, glamorous glasses you got? What's the story behind them?
Finally you have just me, and you finally decide to notice what I'm wearing. These are new glasses as of 2 months ago, Rob. These are the glasses that I got at the after I had that doctor's visit at the pediatric optometrist.
Oh, yeah. I remember. Yeah, you did tell us about that. You know why I didn't notice them? Usually there isn't such a glaring reflection in the lenses. So on this particular week, it's just they're more noticeable than other. Like someone just scored a basket. I get it. You got money on the game. You gotta stay involved. You gotta watch your investments. You got kids and mouths to feed. So I get it. I'm not upset at you. There's not one ounce of me that's upset. What?
It's funny because I was watching basketball last week when I was on also, and you didn't even notice my glasses then.
Well,
it's okay.
I think the lighting was different, and Listen, I get it.
Well,
Everyone,
thank you.
it's like being a method actor. You can't get in the zone without having it on in front of you. I get it. So I'm just happy that you're at full attention with all the tools that you need to enjoy the Run Your Mouth podcast. So first is you ate some soup tonight. I want to hear about the soup.
I did.
Let's hear about.
I did. I was having some soup burp. There's a little soupy burps arising out of my belly, and just made me think of soup. And I always forget. Are you a soup guy?
As of late, every once in a while I've been stopping at some places for some hot lentil soup, and I've been thinking, I've kind of slept on the whole soup thing. Like I don't.
Soup is great.
I don't like soup because I've said this before. I sides are for suckers and appetizers piss me off. I want to eat, like if I show up to your house and you serve me soup before a meal, I'm out. But if you serve me soup as the meal, but like if I go over your house and you just serve me soup, that might be a like you got to let me know in advance. If you just invite me over for dinner and you go, hey, I cooked up this soup, I'm like a little bit like, oh, this guy went cheap on me. Or if you invite me over for soup, I'll come over and be like, all right, we'll spend a half an hour together and eat some soup. But if I show up with like, a case of beer thinking I'm sitting down for, a home cooked meal and someone just puts out some soup, we got a problem.
But there's soups that could be a meal.
Yeah, but like
you know what? They could hit you with all angles.
All right, so it's a really good soup that would qualify as a meal. I'm not going to say who makes it, but I know someone who makes this really good curry soup with big chunks of beef in there, like full on big ass chunks of beef. That's a winner. I've also had like a meat minestrone soup. That's good. Now I love
Italian wedding soup. Italian wedding soup.
Is that
a meal unto itself.
Now I love a good chicken soup with a matzo ball in it. But if I go over to your house and you're serving that to me, that's dinner. We got a problem. That's not going to work.
I totally disagree. There have been times where there's chicken soup and matzo balls that were supposed to be like pre-dinner.
Yeah.
And like we don't even get to the main course.
So yeah,
like because if you're eating it with like some challah, some bread, some nice, it's like you're done. Like that's all you need. Especially when it's like there's a lot of chicken in there. You gotta view the whole package.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of the ratios. If you give me what's like a big ass pieces of chicken in there, then I guess it's the ratios.
If it's like filled with chicken and you have 2 matzo balls in there and there's like a bunch of parsnips and carrots and all that jazz, that's a fucking meal.
But if it's Auschwitz broth, I want a refund.
Oh yeah, if it's just like that watery, that's not that shouldn't even be considered soup.
The other day I got
I had a split pea.
Okay, I'm not a huge fan of split pea. You put hot dogs in there, that's always interesting. Hot dog or sausage in a split pea soup.
What are you crazy?
I don't eat hot dogs very often. Not a big hot dog guy. Not a big split pea soup fan. Super. However, hot dogs and split pea soup is a classic for garbage people, and it's delicious.
I got to try that because I want to see what the garbage people are eating.
No, it's a good mix. Split pea soup with some hot dogs in it. It's nice. But you gotta cut it up into like little circle pieces. Like you wouldn't want to slice it the long way.
Yeah,
that would be weird. You want to slice it into circles.
Who would ever slice a hot dog the long way?
This is
like let's dice up some hot dogs.
Well, or
julienne some hot dogs.
You could slice.
Like, who in their right mind would do that?
I seem to be
the Raptors just tied it up. If you're interested.
Good. I got money on the game too. I seem to have recently developed allergies. Is that something that you suffer from at all?
Hey, this is the origins of the Run Your Mouth podcast, by the way.
Was what? You telling me about your allergies or soup? Conversations about soup.
Remember when like every like 3 to 6 months I'd come in like and I was just like dying because the seasons changed?
Oh, I thought that was just the Rob's Newsroom aura.
That was just the laundry. My reaction.
Yeah, the laundry.
My reaction to your room.
The buildup of laundry is toxic. I would think all the years with just mildewy laundry sitting around, I would be able to handle and weather any climate elements or, mixed pollens. But apparently my respiratory system is not as strong as what my training would have led me to believe.
Well, it sounds like little seasonal allergies you got there.
I think
if you're developing some allergies, as the cold and the hot kind of bounce off each other and roll into new I don't know, outdoor arrangements. I don't know.
Now, yeah, I seem to have a bit of a cough.
Unless you're saying you're just getting like reactions to things you're eating.
Maybe, I don't know. It just seems I seem to have a bit of a cough, and it's worse the more I spend time in the Gas Digital basement. Anyways, I got a chicken and egg question for you when it comes to allergies. I always thought people who got allergies, they were just whiny people. Like, they were just, it was for the not cool people. If you were affected by your climate, you're just not cool, and you're kind of giving into, like, little things and playing into it until you become the whiny kid.
Neurotic
you're just becoming that whiny, you might inhale, or I can't breathe, and then you poke at him. We all remembered that kid in high school. So... But now, so is it that, like, you're whiny and neurotic, and so you kind of inflict these things upon yourself? Or is it because there's something wrong with your genetics that you end up with things like allergies that turns you into a neurotic person?
Ooh, that's a very interesting question.
Like, did your personality spawn these illnesses because of your, like, or is it, is it because of your very essence and nature? Yeah.
I think it's more the allergies are real, and then it's just so that's what comes first, and then it's just your personality and how you handle things, which like defines how much it rears its head essentially, or how much like it's complained about or affects you.
Right.
Like you could easily kind of
you can either lean into it, you can lean into it, or you can, or you can toughen up a little bit.
Whether like, oh, this is annoying as fuck, but like I'm not gonna let it affect my day to day, or you could be like, all right, this is annoying as fuck, and I'm just gonna like check out because of it,
Right. Now, this is very ADD of me, but the other day when I was eating lentil soup, I had it with like a really high end, like small, like elegant olive, like olive roll. And I was dipping that into the lentil soup. Excellent combination.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you got
like a nice rustic bread.
Exactly.
Very crusty.
You know what though? This is one of my worst character traits, or maybe you won't see it this way, but when I buy food, usually I'm within 5 blocks of my desk. And if I just get to my desk with the food, I can sit down and eat like a mensch. I never walk out of a place without food and don't just eat it. Well, like, I cannot wait I need it now. I just ordered this. And I know I would enjoy it more if I sat down and ate it like a human being, but I don't have enough self-control that once I've bought the sandwich I even did that once. I went with someone, to a place, and we got out of the restaurant, like, we're walking to the car, and he's like, you're a fucking animal. I'm like, what, we're waiting to,
you finished it before you even got there?
No, not quite, but I was like, it's that attic-y thing. You're like, I'll just take a bite or two. I'm going to take a bite or two, and then I'll save the rest for when we get back and we sit it down like people. No, of course not.
Never one.
If anything, you get to the car, like, all right, we got to go back for another one, so I got one that I can eat with you when we get there, Would you say is that to me is a bad character trait? What's your take on that?
I think what you need to do in that situation, you kind of like, again, if the thing is you're not such like a side guy. Like I would say like, get like a small fries or something for the walk.
Oh, that's the opportunity for appetizers. You have the appetizer before you get to your destination. So when you get to your destination, you're in round 2. Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of like order, I don't know, some mozzarella, some sort of shit like to tide you over, but it doesn't dip into the main thing that you got.
You got a pre-meal.
Yeah.
A pre-meal for the walk.
Or it's like,
Maybe they should actually
that's some fat fuckery for you.
I think instead of an appetizer, there should be a category in the menu called the walkover meal, which is specifically for people who are too impatient for delivery, and so they make sure to actually go to the restaurant, but then they know that you're not going to actually get back to your destination with your food intact, so they have the walkover meal for your walkover.
Or even just like as we said before, like pre-meal items. That actually sounds like premium, like pre-meal items.
Pre-meal.
That sounds much better than walkovers. That sounds like you step on it.
It sounds like Passover. Pre-meal sounds a little bit like it's made for babies, though. It sounds like baby food. I don't know why.
No, it's like the
pediatric.
precursor to, like, I would have on, what would I put on that menu? Obviously, like some
sliders.
You can't have little
gotta be finger food, chicken fingers, like almost your kids meal, hot dogs.
Yeah, hot dog and
yeah, like things you can just kind of scarf down while you're walking, like a mini, or a miniature version of what your actual meal is. Like, so if you get a full sub, it's kind of like the slider version of that. It's like a mini sub kind of thing, and
maybe you like get kind of like the scraps of the sandwich.
Oh,
like let's say you're getting like a turkey pastrami, and they're slicing it up.
They give you the scraps on the side.
Leftover. It's like, oh, you know what? Like this was just kind of off the end. Snack on this for the walk.
That's genius. That is genius.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna lose that food anyways.
A good feeling. It like kind of, I don't know, promotes good feeling between the shop and the customer.
Yeah.
You feel like you're getting like a little extra freebie. It's really no skin off their back.
That's like in Golan when my friend used to work there and he gave us the sliced ends of the lafas, which were delicious. It was like the crust.
That sounds more like you were like
too poor for a meal and they gave you the sliced ends.
Yeah, it was like his charity to you as opposed to.
The reason we hopped into this topic is
of the meal.
Even when I bought this soup with the bread dip, I ate that on the walk, and that's not
soup.
That's not.
You were eating soup while walking.
It was like a mini cup of soup, and I was just drinking the soup and eating the bread, and then dipping and eating the bread and drinking the soup, and you're just like,
Robbie, what are we gonna do with you?
This is too compulsive.
So even when you had, it wasn't even like a bullshit soup. It was like a nice like. But it was from a gourmet supermarket, where they have those pre-made soups and you just put it into its to-go cup kind of thing. It wasn't like a restaurant soup, if that makes a difference. Real chunky too. It's not like a watery soup. Real heavy on the lentils. Okay. I feel like soup needs to be eaten kind of sitting down in the night.
I know. I'm saying that's how bad of a habit that is fucking insanity. That even a bowl of soup, like, can you imagine taking a bowl of cereal to go, just walking with a bowl? Like, there's some things it's like, but you got to get your shit together. Like, just wait till you, and this is within 4 blocks of where my office is. It's really not that crazy. And by the way, it's not like I haven't eaten in 3 or 4 days. It's not like I just ended my fast. Which brings me to my next topic, which I think which might be a product of eating in the streets, but I've experimented recently. What the fuck is that? Is that a hair?
Don't know.
Is that a hair or a bug?
I thought it was a spider hanging off of the
whatever it is, it's
tower cord, but it seems to be hair.
Oh, that's fucking. That's really gross, dude. I've recently tried.
That's probably the 10th grossest thing that's happened in my house in the past 4 hours.
Okay, name top 10. Let's go.
Henry. Well, 6 of the top 10 involved Henry spitting up on me.
Okay, what'd he spit up? Milk? Chicken?
Formula.
Oh, okay.
Just gross. And like, there was one where it was like this explosion of.
Why aren't you
just like?
Why aren't you feeding the kid titty milk?
Yeah, that's
the sensitive topic. Okay, you don't have to answer it, but
not sensitive. It's just It wasn't shaykh this time around.
You want
The
proof.
formula is so much easier.
I know the formula is easier, but like you want proof of the fact that it's bad for babies. I don't think babies throw up tit milk. They do throw up formula.
Oh, they do.
They throw up tit milk?
No, they throw up the milk. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe your wife's got spoiled titties.
It's spit up doesn't have anything to do with like rejecting the food, you asshole.
Of course it does. You're poisoning your baby. I care for Henry. I want his lovely cock to grow into a beautiful adult male membrane. You're pumping these pharmaceutical chemicals from Big Milk. What's the name of the company? Darson. What's the name of the company on your? What kind of formula are you feeding this kid? Gerber? Kirkland. Costco. You're just gonna give him. You're not even going to go high end on the formula. The fuck is in formula? Is it? Were they like loaded up with protein and testosterone?
It's like a ton of fucking minerals and vitamins.
All right. Maybe these scientists know what to feed babies.
I think so.
Would it be of good?
The first two ended up all right, and also it makes him sleep better. I don't know what the fuck, and also like it's only because there's no titty milk to go around. Like
I get it. It's been drained.
Yeah, the
younger ones drained it all out, motherfuckers. Okay, so
they didn't even get that.
Number 5. We'll just do a top 5. Top 5. Number 5. Henry puked on you. Now, did he puke on like right into your mouth, onto your face, into your shirt?
Just all down my arm, onto my clothes, into my crotch, on the couch, in the crevices of the couch. It just.
And you didn't.
Sometimes we're like, I'm like holding him on my shoulder, and then like I'll just hear like a big spit up smack the floor. I'm like, oh, and then like see a big pile. Like, over yeah, it's pleasant. Then there was.
I'm surprised you don't just leave. Say this was,
I don't think I could do that.
No, number 2. Number 2.
What else? What else happened in this time? This is not really gross, but like Emma, she just came out of nowhere, covered in. I don't even know how this happens, but like her face and her hands were like covered in chocolate, and we're like, what did you have? Like, and it's just like it looked like it was like dripping off of her, and she said all she had was a granola bar, like a Chewy bar.
She's lying.
It's like they're literally like 10 tiny chocolate chips, but she manages to melt every single one individually, like all over her face.
No, that's when you got to sit her down and break up a Chewy bar, pull out every single one of them, like literally pull it apart, put every single one of the little chocolate and go, I know you're lying to me. Let's do the math now. Come on, I'm going to rub all this on my face. We're going to compare the amount of chocolate on my face, the amount of chocolate on your face. Clearly, that's not an equal level of chocolate. Where are you getting this chocolate and how are you rubbing it all over yourself? I want some answers.
Interesting also. She's very impressive in terms of the getting food all gross on her. M&Ms, like they're supposed to not melt. They're known not melt. What is it?
Melt in your mouth, on your hands. Yeah. Bullshit.
She's the only person on planet Earth that it doesn't. That instantly, like it melts in her hands. She must have like, I don't know, like fire hands. I don't know.
All right, fair enough.
Whatever.
So, got puked on. Got kid covered in chocolate. What else you doing? Give us one more.
Yeah.
One more gross thing.
Yeah, gross shit happens around here. Oh, they're just the reason I thought it was a spider is because there have been ants that have been coming in.
You're overrun by ants
everywhere.
Child services, if you're out there, he's feeding something to his kids that are making them puke. The other one is so neglected, she's just being found covered in chocolate, and the house is overrun by ants. So, all right.
There we go.
Anyways, I'm confronting an adult problem that I think maybe you have some advice for me for. I find
let's hear.
Jeans are a great.
You're like a small child.
Jeans are a great pants. I like wearing jeans. But the problem is summer comes around and it gets a little too hot for jeans. Especially I ride my bike into work or on a rainy day. Ooh. Once you sweat up your jeans, it's a problem. So jeans are not a summer pant.
Once rain hits it, it turns the jeans into like a whole another animal.
Because they don't dry real quick. Then you got to wash them. Yeah. Jeans are like...
And they stink.
Yeah. It's almost like...
Rain.
It's almost like
It
the way
turns
wool
like
gets wet and starts just having like smelling like the sheep, but jeans aren't that. But the point is, if you go out in khakis and it rains or like there's even a drizzle, but you're fine after a little bit, you get wet in your jeans, it's not pleasant. So I've been experimenting with newer pants. I try and get some lightweight pants. Last year I got some really good like biking pants. They're real thin. I got a black and a gray, but I wore them out. I got to replace them. But I've experimented with like not dark colored pants. I got my dark jeans, and then I also have like my black pants, but I've recently experimented with like some nice blue pants. I really like an olive green pant. I like an olive green pant, but I'm finding every time I try a pant that's not just black or jeans, I get about 2 usages till I drop something in the crotch area that permanently stains them. I've had this happen to like 3 pairs of pants now. How are people wearing colored pants? What am I doing wrong here? Maybe it's because I'm eating in the street. I don't know. But you tell me. Do you have khakis? Like, they never last for me. They're like one-time use.
They're disposable. I find that like where in the shirt department, where it seems like every other shirt that I get, like within like the first 2 or 3 usages,
it's gone. It's one like yeah.
And then it's like, like I still have to wear this, but like there's this like faint stain. It's a fucking mess.
Mine always look. They're always crotch stains that just look a little bit too much like you jizzed yourself. It's not enough to look like urine, but it looks like. Like I'm always impressed by these women with the white pants. I would wear them once, and I would look like a human. Period. It would happen to me every time.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't have good clean
It'd
pants.
Like marinara sauce would just be like all on there. Because you wouldn't be able to resist bringing the pizza slice off of the counter that it was served on before eating it.
All right.
You'd be like eating it out of the oven.
That's all that I had to discuss for this week. Oh, I got one last question for you. Last week, I have already discussed this in this episode, but I'd like your feedback on this particular problem. Last week,
all right,
I spent a fair amount of time editing what was supposed to be the Run Your Mouth podcast. Then I go to post the show, and somehow, as a blunder, after all my hard work, I post the just original audio file. Now, the original audio file literally includes me going to Mike Harrington. Okay, here's where we're going to edit in this conversation. Just blank space. This conversation about tech problems. Like, what's clearly not supposed to be the episode.
That's what the people want.
This show
That's what the people want.
No, they don't want that. This show is so fucking weird. People thought we were doing a bit. And now I'm wondering, is anyone even listening to that? Like, how did nobody call in or write in or whatever just to be like, what the fuck is this? Or do they really not care? Or is that actually more interesting? Like, you tell me.
Yes,
what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is there's sometimes, maybe it's not every single time that people want to hear this, but like once in a while, I think like the raw, uncut, just like kind of behind the scenes type stuff is a little intriguing. All
right. Before I let you go, anything else? We only got a couple minutes here because, but anything else you wanted to let us know about?
Nah.
All right. There you go. Eat more soup. Next week, tell me about another soup. Try the hot dog thing. Can you commit to trying the hot dog and split pea soup?
I could see going like one of those like.
Let me ask you this. Wait. Hold on a second. Let's settle this right now.
Sausage, maybe. I would put sausage in that.
Sausage sounds excellent. Do you still have some split pea soup left over from dinner?
No, I finished it. Why? Oh, you're saying put a...
No leftover, because I was going to say you for sure have hot dogs in your freezer. You could run like a simple experiment here of microwaving a hot dog, throwing that shit in the soup, and just testing to see if maybe it would appeal to you.
I don't have hot dogs on hand. B, this was second night of the soup.
Oh, so this was... I got it. So this was already... that was already a second night of the soup. All right. It was nice of you to join us. Hopefully, we will have you back in person soon.
That's my seat. Keep it warm.